Hey, I'm Richie Mann, and been packing for quite a few years, and we belong to the Country Horsemen of BC. And right today we're doing a packing demonstration. Wendy Morrison has got it organized for us, our president, and so I'm going to demonstrate the single diamond, and Graham after me will demonstrate the double diamond. So anyway, when we first start off, this nice little Norwegian fjord horse called Vinny here. So anyway, one thing about the Norwegian fjords, they're always buckskins, and they're easy to match up if you want to make a team or whatever. They're great that way, and they're very sturdy all-round horses. That's the one I need over here. That's got to go under there. With the sawbuck, it's easy. You just, this one you have to kind of thread it through. Like that. Ooh, no. Ooh. Yeah. That's one thing they'll do. Whenever you load them in the trailer, they're going to crap. Okay, so it's all set up to do the basket hitch now. You'll see that the loop is over top of the one coming straight down. Oh, this is heavy. You just kind of hold it up there like that, pull the bottom rope till it tightens up, and then you got a hold of it. What's that? Oh, is it hooked on there? I don't need it hooked there. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. That's good. That's good. Just gotta get it adjusted a bit, not too high. If you got a light load, you can go a lot higher if you got. But and then I'm just gonna go over with the loop under. Just kind of, I don't know whether you can see that or not. Stay still. It's just a loop under there like that, and up here like that. And then I put a half hitch on that. And that box is there. That's a little low. This is it. This is how you can adjust your loads easily. So I'm going to come up a bit. There we go. And over and under. Half hitch. And I'll use that after. This is the basket hitch, which is really handy for, so what I did was a loop, go over the horizontal rope, loop like that, around the vertical one, and then up behind the horizontal one again, and a half hitch on top. And that's that box tied off, ready for a top pack. So we're not going to throw this over. I can even put a little bowline in the end of this, so I've got a loop. Usually what we had on these pack saddles, usually I always had loops already braided in, So I'm just going to put a little bowline in the end here. Oh boy. Nice to have a quiet horse who's going to stand like that, eh? Okay, so we just got a bowline in the end. That's going to go over, and we'll catch it with the other rope. And the pack cover. If you're expecting a lot of rain and stuff, you know, you could open this pack up. It's going to be a little big on this horse, so I'm just going to do it halfway. Oh no, I did it the other way, didn't I? Yeah, I did it this way. Yeah. There we go. Yep. About the bottom of the pack, Rick. And then if you're really good, you swing this enough so you can catch it when it comes around, but I've never, I used to be able to do it. Can somebody pass that through? Thanks. Yeah, that's good. Got it. Pull this one through. We're good here. Okay, so I can kind of do this myself, I think. Okay, we'll just leave that one there. Now we'll go back here. Nice if you can get everything all tucked in nice and neat. But oh, I don't want it on. Yeah. Something awful tight on that other side. There we go. And I come under here. Oh, I see, that's why. Okay. And there's the diamond. And you just, same thing, just a loop knot on top that's easy to undo. And that's all you need right there. And then you got extra rope. You just chain it up. So what I did to start with is Graham and I brushed the horse down good to make sure we didn't have any weeds or seeds or anything on the back of the horse, and then we checked the blanket out to make sure there was no seeds or burrs on the blanket, because we don't need a bucking horse after we get it saddled. So anyway, so that comes on first, the blanket. You can see the orange blanket underneath here. Usually what we do out in the field, we usually have a wool blanket underneath it, because the wool blanket is much easier to clean than one of these. These are a felt pad is what these are. And so then next came the saddle, which is a Decker saddle. We'll get a better look at it after I take the gear off. And I put the boxes on with a basket hitch. There's a basket rope looped around on top of the Decker saddle. So I put it on with a basket hitch. And then came the top pack, which is a couple of sleeping bags and a sleeping pad on top, and then the tarp, and then I tied the single diamond.
Hi, my name is Graham Jones. I'm also a member of the Country Horsemen West Kootenay Chapter, as Richie was, the gentleman that showed you the previous hitch. The hitch that I'm going to show you today is a double diamond. and there's a reason for it. Single diamond, I think, has been around the longest. The double diamond, I think, was invented for one purpose. If you have a tall pack horse, we'll get into some of these other specifics later, it's very difficult sometimes by the time you get your top packs on to be able to reach up top and do that, especially if the horse is tall and you're challenged for height. So the double diamond is worked on the side of the animal, which makes it a lot easier to do. It does have a drawback, which I will mention to you. And in regards to that, anybody that packs should also always carry a sharp knife, because you can guarantee that sooner or later you will have an episode or a wreck, as we want to refer to them as, where a sharp knife is imperative to get your animal out safely and stop you from being injured as well. So that's an important thing, and I'll show you where the disadvantage is with the double diamond when we get to it. As Richie mentioned, balancing your load is very, very critical. The standard load on most horses is around 150 pounds for normal purposes. Obviously, if you've got a much bigger, stronger draft type horse, you can increase that. But for general horses that we use, 150 is about the right amount. People will ask, well, how come you can put a 250 pound person on an animal and only 150 pound? The difference is live weight, a human being that moves with the animal, as opposed to absolutely dead weight. What we put on a pack horse doesn't do anything for the horse at all. He's got to pack it, and it's not going to help him in any movement that we would use as body movement as we ride. So if you put on a horse what you think you can with a human, you're going to overload and overwork the horse, and you will eventually have issues with the animal, and that's certainly not what we're here for today, is to mention that. Pack horses themselves, the one we had in the previous demonstration, was pretty good for a horse that's probably never had a pack on before. Some of them can be very skittish, and be aware of it. If you're practicing at home, your horse has never had it, every time you go to put something up on top that he's not familiar with, like he's familiar with you maybe getting on and getting off, when you put something on there in the way of a load, and especially when you go to put the tarp on, that horse can end up in the next county in a matter of minutes. So be aware of the fact that do everything gently, let the horse smell it, make the horse as comfortable as possible while you're going through this, and after a while, obviously they will accept that. A nice mellow horse that is calm in most instances is a huge advantage. Even when you're packing with a horse that's good, there are always things happening where they're bouncing off trees. A good pack horse will learn to clear the trees. They will go around the tree, give themselves space. A new one at the business will bounce off a tree, or bounce off a rock, or bounce off a stump. And in your pack boxes, you've got a variety of stuff that can range from camp lamps to pots and pans to obviously your food goods, and there can be some rattling and clanging and banging. And if a horse gets spooked and he takes off and you're trying to hang on to him, you're probably not going to hang on unless you lose a hand. So, just be aware of the fact that you're exposing the horse to something that you're not in control of by being on top as a rider. They're on their own. They have to learn that, okay, if I go too close to that obstacle, I'm going to whack it. The box is going to hit. It's going to be uncomfortable, and they will eventually learn to navigate around that, with using common sense. Size-wise, we probably don't have a lot of choices. Sometimes we're stuck with the animals we have. A smaller, and when I say smaller, I'm sort of saying 15 hands or less, is an advantage just from a working factor. It doesn't mean anything other than that. It's just convenience of being able to put your load on. Because you'll see when you've got your boxes on, as Richie did, you'll have your top packs. Quite often you'll have your sleeping bag, which can be bulky. You will have your duffel bag of clothes, which is also bulky. You'll have a tent and possibly a ground pad. So there are a certain number of items that can get sort of big, but they're light. All your weight's in the bottom. The lower center of gravity you've got, the better, as Richie mentioned earlier. So they're all things to keep in mind, and a lot of it is common sense. When you think, okay, this is the first time my horse has been exposed to this, I've got to take it easy and just make sure that they're accepting it without sort of getting into a rodeo every time you go to try and do something like that. So having said all of that, the difference between the saddle that Richie had was a decker. This is the newer innovation of the sawbuck. The original sawbuck was a wooden saddle, across at the front, across at the back, made of wood, wooden paddles on the animal, shaped to fit. Now we've come out with synthetic materials, we've come out with iron, they're adjustable. There's 2 or 3 different variations of this particular type of adjustable saddle. Some of them have a sawbuck style where the arms are adjustable this way. This one slides in and out, slightly different method. Nice thing is the synthetic material doesn't rot, doesn't age, doesn't split, doesn't change with the weather. Once you've got them, they pretty well last forever. Breeching is very critical on a pack animal. You need a good breast collar, something that is either washable or good leather material that you can keep nice and soft with neat's foot oil and so forth. Because in the uphills and downhills, because of that dead load, this stuff can move quite drastically. And the other, so breeching, both breast collar, breeching for the back, very critical. They call this the spider. It distributes the straps to go in the various directions to the rear breeching. The other thing that's important with packing is not only the center of gravity, is the balance. Very, very, very important. A pound a pound over a period of a trail, distance on a trail, can make a huge difference. They make scales, just like the old original sliding fish scale. Richie doesn't use them. Richie used to be able to do it because of experience. He would just pick up a set of packs, put them down, turn around, pick it the other way, and he was pretty close. I was never that good, so I used the scale. And the scale, you just pick up the box from the strap. I had a little thing I could hook it in a tree, and I could just put the box on there and let it hang in it. And there's a little marker that comes down and stays at the weight of that box. If you find you have a difference in balance, you move stuff around if you can. If the items are such that you can't do so, and you're a pound or so out, grab a rock. Put a rock in the light side and bring it up to that weight. That's an easy fix if you can't do it with what you're carrying in your boxes. You're better off not to add a rock if you don't have to, because that's adding more weight to the load unnecessarily. If you can shift stuff around, that's the best way to go. But it is very critical to have your boxes balanced very evenly. So, we're going to do the double diamond hitch. It was invented by a guy named Jim McCrae, and Jim was the original founding member of the Country Horsemen of BC, one of the 2, Jensen out of Cranbrook, I believe, and Jim McCrae. They started the West Kootenay, they started the BC provincial chapter, and Jim's packed with JRJ Packing in the Nass Mountains for many, many years. Designed the double diamond, possibly for the same reason that I used it. My mules were 15 hands plus, and I found to die and do Richie's up here. Sometimes you're on a side hill and you can't reach up there, so I started using the double diamond and I stayed with that. So, with these boxes, they usually come geared like this, with the sling. Very simple, just throw it up and throw it over the top of your sawbuck. Sometimes they can move on you, they'll slide on the sawbuck. If you hit something really hard, it'll slide. I took them off mine. I riveted 2 sets of leather straps with buckles so I could adjust them. They hooked over the sawbuck. Once they're in place, they never moved. Being adjustable, if I used them on a different saddle or a different horse, I could adjust them. But for simplification, this method works quite well. So it's just a matter of throwing it up. Easy, boy, easy, easy. Okay, so our boxes are on. Everything that Richie mentioned earlier, all your heavy stuff in the bottom. If you happen to be packing canned goods or canned goods, preserves, grain, bury things in the grain that are fragile. That way you've got, you're using the grain not only to feed your animals, but you're using it to protect some of your property. So with backpacks, I'll get a camera here for a sec, Isaac. I didn't bring a duffel bag of clothing, so I brought 2 pup tents. So as long as they're fairly even, put a pup tent underneath the soap. I'm disconnected. Still got me? I think I'm good, Kel. I don't know if I want any. Oh, keys. Okay. So as you can see, when you get a bulky pack, like this barrel is probably 14 hands. So if you've got a 15 or 16 hand horse, you've really got a lot of work to get up here. So this is where the double diamond, you know, does come into play. So your boxes are on, you've got them balanced, you've checked your weights, you're happy with the way they are. You've got your other gear on top. And the top, of course, not only does it weatherproof, but it keeps things snug for the trip. So you just tidy your top up so that it's sort of tidy and not things hanging around looking ugly. These are pretty new. They're very stiff. When they get older and softer, they're a little easy to work with. That'll do. Okay. Now this is our last rope. Richie does his hook on this side, and with the double diamond it's on the far side, the off side. One thing to keep in mind, always point your hook backwards. Hook like that, guaranteed you'll hook something on the trip as you go by, so always get into the habit of putting your hook backwards. With the double diamond, we pull a loop through the cinch ring so that we've got a loop that's going to go over the top of the pack. The tail end of the rope is at the front of the ring on the onside. So we throw this over, right over the middle of your pack. I'm going to bring it to you, Rich. Okay. And what I do is with my cinches, I put a big felt pen mark in the middle, because I don't have to worry about how far that is. I just line the middle up with the middle of the belly of the horse. Just another simplification. Now this doesn't have to be super tight at the moment, but we'll snug it up a bit. Okay, I'm going to go back that way a little bit. Can you pull that cinch? How far is that cinch on your side, Rich?
It's right to the cinch. Right to the
edge of the box?
Right to the saddle cinch.
Okay, I'll give you to pull it to your side a bit. Good, good, that'll work. Now most boxes these days have the notches in them, or the nubs. Obviously make sure that you put your rope in there so it doesn't pop off during the trip. So right now we've got a double rope on either side, just like so. So I'm going to do it on this side first. I usually go about the edge of the box, and you will take 3, just keeping the slack on this rope a little bit firm. 3 left over right. 1, 2, 3. 3 twists of the rope, and I'll show you when I get to the other side. I now take this one and make a loop in the middle. Put the loop through, coming through from the underside. This one goes over the top, along the front here, like so. Come around here. Do the same thing again. 3 left over right. 1, 2, 3. This one goes in now. The first one I came in from the inside. This one I come from this side. I can now pull this one snug. Go down through the nib. Oh, this has got to go down through here. I missed one thing here. This one in. Oh, I know I did wrong. I got to go under the box first. So this one goes in like so. I pull it down here under the box. Then to there. And you can pull it fairly snug. And then we come this end of the box into the nibs. Pull that tight, over the back. This one didn't quite go where it wants to be. This is not a very nice diamond on this side. Yeah, I got a short lash rope here that would normally go down under here, so I'd use mine the next time. Disadvantage that I mentioned earlier. All the things that Richie talked about tying underneath. If the horse goes into a bog or gets caught up in a creek or whatever, you can't get at that ring to undo that knot. Whereas Richie's up top here is usually accessible, or better chance of being accessible. So this is where, unfortunately, you'd have to cut your lash rope, and that's where that sharp knife comes into play. So as you can see, I didn't do anything up here at all. Oh, there we go. It's a matter of tying it off. Half hitch with a loop over the top. Do a couple for safety. And then you can tie it. Normally you've got more and you can tie it up and do the same chain that Richie used. But as you can see, the diamond on the side, it works nice and easy. If you don't have any shovel or anything or an axe in your pack, you can tie it through here and tie it off with some extra cord. So advantages and disadvantages, you'll get a preference, and that's basically where we're at. So any questions, anybody?